Hello and welcome to Smart Impressions. I'm Rachel, your host, and we are unlocking business relationships one connection at a time. If you've ever felt like, you know what, today is just not my day. How am I going to get up and call random strangers and try to be engaging and get them to have a meeting with me? Or how am I going to go into the office and look my boss in the face and let him know that I just couldn't sleep all night because of stress I had at home? You know, this is the show for you. Today, we're talking about preventing burnout in high pressure positions like sales. And I have a well-reputable general manager of Serco who's with me today. Thank you so much, Carl Fennell, for joining.
Thank you, Rachel. It's really nice to be here, and thank you for the invite.
Absolutely. So I'm so excited to have you here because you have a passion to share about mental health, in some cases, mental fitness, when it comes to staff, employees, and really thriving to achieve deliverables based on job expectations, right? So can you tell me a little bit more how that's impacting you currently?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, as you say, I've got a very strong passion for mental well-being. I see that and I recognise that in the workplace. Um, a team that is mentally fit and mentally well is going to perform to the best of their ability. They will bring their best selves to work. I've been trying over the last couple of years really to raise awareness. Um, Predominantly to try and reduce the stigma, to allow people an opportunity, a safe space to go and speak to people about maybe how they're feeling. They could be having a bad day at work, like you say, or it could just be over a long period of time. And really, it's important that we recognize that as leaders, as managers, we have a responsibility for people's well-being. And what I'm finding is it's people are relating to it. There's so many people all around the world who are either managing mental health disorders or they know people with mental health disorders. So what I'm finding is what I'm talking about, what I'm raising, is fully relatable. And what the great news is that people are starting to talk about it, and it's starting to destigmatize around the team that I manage directly and around our organization more broadly. The information that I post on LinkedIn is engaging with not just my workplace, but my connection. So we're starting to spread the word, I guess, if you like. And what is important is that people feel comfortable and safe to put the hand up or come and speak to somebody to say, look, I don't feel well. What is it? It doesn't feel right. Can you help me? Can you support me? And really try and foster that sense of community, that sense of well-being amongst people that you spend an awful lot of your time with. And I have to say that the response has been remarkable. I mean, my organisation, Serco, have been incredibly supportive, that they're taking it on globally. I'm having some very interesting conversations with very senior people within our organisation, but also at ground level, the people that I interact with daily. I'm starting to see the benefit. I'm starting to see people coming to speak to me. I'm starting to see people coming to speak to their peers and their managers. And I think what we're doing is gathering traction, and we are starting to actually make a difference, which is amazing. It's absolutely wonderful.
Incredible. Now, I know, there's no doubt, I think we all know there's that stigma of the mental illness, right? There's this negative connotation people, feel, but it really varies. It doesn't have to be a mental illness as much as it has to be maybe just mentally, you don't just feel good that day, like some of these expectations for work and engaging with other people. It's difficult, and specifically, I have a lot of sales professionals that are sitting here listening to this conversation, and they are in high stress and pressure environments where they have a lot of expectations to not only connect with others, but also deliver results, right? And you can have that from a sales perspective, you can have it from an operations, even from a top level management, like you're a GM position like yourself, where there's a lot of pressure from the organization to deliver. And so what are you seeing really as what do you see in some of the issues that basically are causing this concern or this topic to bubble? Is it the pressures of the job impacting this reaction? mentally? Is it their own kind of level of stability and awareness, or at least like how they deal with concerns? I mean, I think there's so many different parts of this that play into where our mental health is today. But with your
No,
experience, I know you said you're not a doctor, and I put it out there. This is your own personal reference and really your experience. But what has your experience been with these type of expectations and impacting how people are dealing with it mentally?
yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's such a broad subject, and the more the more I get into it, the more I focus on it, that the broader it seems to get. Yeah, to answer your question honestly, it could be anything. It could be something going on at home, or it could be linked to work. What I'm trying to do is just get people talking. Now, in relation to high stress, high pressure jobs, of course, we see it. We go through it ourselves. We understand that if we're targeted on sales performance or service delivery or whatever that expectation is, then that can become a burden. And if you're struggling at work, if you're having difficulty reaching those targets, it becomes like a fear of failure. And when you start to think, well, I need to make this call, I need to close this deal, or getting towards the end of the month, I have to do X, Y, and Z. If I can't do it, you put in pressure on yourself. You're starting to be probably your own biggest critic. And if you are, if your organization maybe is going through a difficult time, the pressure is then ramped up again, because you've not just got your target, but then you've got other people's targets to meet as well. So it does become an emotional burden. And what you see in that context is people start to burn out. They start to work twice as hard. They have maybe a mental block, or they have an issue where they start with negative thinking. You go down that route, you're catastrophizing, you're overthinking things, and you've got negative thought patterns, which, if there's no positivity in your day, if there's no positivity in your life, then it starts to be that there's no kind of way out. You feel that there's no way out, and then the worst case is it starts to become the norm. A fear of failure, increased anxiety, increased stress. It's not a good place to be mentally. Feeling drained. Burnout is emotional and mental exhaustion. You can't physically take any more bad news, or you can't physically put any more effort in. You start to feel worthless. Your job starts to become impossible. You start to turn inwards. You're trying to develop coping strategies that, if you're not fully functioning, your coping strategies are that they start to become blame. It's like, I'm not going to be able to do this, therefore I'm trying to lessen the burden, or I'm trying to lessen the impact of not making that sale or that failure. So all of those negative connotations, they build up, and if you've got no release, if you can't step away from it, then it turns into the norm. People with burnout, generally, they don't switch off. They find it impossible. They can't stop thinking. So they'll go home, they'll spend time with their family. They're either working till late in the night, up early in the morning, constantly thinking about work, constantly thinking about what do I need to do? What do I need to achieve? Family time becomes work time. There's no break. You get no downtime. You get no rest. You get no recuperation. So it's just a vicious cycle that it ends in exhaustion. And I've been through it myself. I've seen people that it's happened to, and it's very hard to drag yourself out of. And part of raising awareness through educating people, through talking about things that might be trigger points, self-awareness, we start to raise that kind of that awareness. People become aware of what's good and what's bad. If I'm going down this route, I need something to reset. I need maybe somebody to say, are you okay? Is everything doing, is there anything I can help with? Line managers, leaders have a huge role to play in this. Not only Are they looking out for their teams? But leadership can set policies. They can approve training. There's lots of training, mental health, first aid, counselling training, all kinds of things that you can do, all readily available in the UAE. That will really help. And the more people who recognise, either in themselves or in those around them, red flags, warning signs, the easier it is for people to say, I think you need to take a break, or are you okay? Is there anything I can do to support? Is there anything I can do to help? Or worst case, in times of crisis, maybe point people in the right direction if that's what they feel that they need.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm so amazed that you've been able to lead this conversation, not only in your internal organization, but you never know who the next person is that you can help by just shedding the light to some of the things that you should be looking out for, and that you may encompass. There's no doubt in these high pressure jobs, it's a lot of pressure. Now people deal with it with the pressure, and sometimes people don't. And again, personally, I've had a number of staff that I've said, take a mental health day. We have sick days, in work. And I say, take a mental health day. You can, in your sick days, let them be a mental health. If you feel not up to the challenge of engaging and coming to work and feeling your best and feeling great and really performing, there's a direct indication of that performance results based on how you feel. Would you agree?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. You're going to perform at your best if you're feeling your best. Yes.
Right. So I do encourage people, take a break, take that mental illness, feel better, and go do something that really feeds your soul. If it's go sit, we have a lot of resources. Go sit and where there's outside, maybe not today in Dubai, but during the summer, the winter months, it's great to go out and be next to a tree and be out in the green nature. Right. That's a great way. But what are some of the other ways that you encourage your team to really help their mental health kind of get out of that sluggish dip and get back up?
That is challenging, because if you are in a low place, it can be a lot of effort to really try and pull yourself out of that. Just encourage people to reflect on themselves, to reflect on their days. A lot of inner searching is important. Nobody knows you better than you know yourself. As a manager, it's important to try and detect subtle changes in behavior, which then may open the door to be able to initiate a conversation. Ultimately, not everybody wants to lay their soul bare when you're speaking to them. So, the best starting point is really to say, how do you feel? What's going on? Is today an issue? Are you struggling at work? Are there other things? But definitely self-reflection and self-awareness are, for an individual to realize themselves, to understand what those trigger points are really, really important. And really seeking support and asking for help if they start to feel like they're going in the wrong direction. Much easier if you've gone through it before. As I say, if things creep up on you, it starts to become normal. And with the conversations that I have with people, a lot of them don't seem to realize, because it's been going on for such a long time, that maybe they're not in a great place, or that they need to try and seek help and recover internally. But you've mentioned going out and spending time doing things that you love. 100%. The first thing that you do when you start to feel unwell is you start to shut down. So you don't do things anymore that maybe interest you. You might be, you might play the guitar, or you might do painting, or you might like, there's outdoor activities that you might like to do. They're the first things that you'd say, I don't feel like it. I just want to stay at home. So really recognizing things like that in yourself in terms of changes of behavior are important. But on the other side of what you've just asked, definitely do what you love. Spend time with people that love you and you love, and enjoy time when you're not at work. That is so important, that you allow yourself downtime, that you diarize things. Exercise is extremely good for raising endorphins in the brain. Do things like that that you know that you enjoy doing that will help you in times of difficulty.
Fantastic. Well, I want to encourage anyone listening, whether you have a bad day or if you're having consistent bad days, Carl, you've highlighted a couple ways of looking at and notifying yourself to really understanding, am I shutting down? Am I not in a good mood? Am I excluding myself from social activities? And some of the other ways that we can kind of look and become aware of what we're doing, so that self-awareness is crucial. And today's society, you see education, I have kids, you have kids, anyone that has kids probably sees, even in the education system, they're now doing mindfulness. They're now identifying the emotions that they're dealing with, because we didn't learn this as kids. We missed out on this. And now we're all these adults, which are having all these emotions that we all have in common and not really understanding what they are, what's triggering them, and how to deal with them. So this conversation is extremely important and crucial so that we can prevent it from continuing to happen, prevent it from impacting our life, and really help the people around us that may need our support. So I love this conversation. Carl, we keep it short with only 15 minutes to give people a little impact to their day. We want to keep it so that they can initiate and start impacting some part of their life better when it comes to mental fitness. And so what are some of the 3 tips that we can leave our community with that can help them, guide them, and really help them thrive when it comes to mental health in the workspace and during, specifically around these high pressure jobs that are prevalent in the Gulf?
Yeah, okay. So number 1, an absolute must, is self-care. Good diet, a lot of sleep, 8 hours minimum if you can manage it, and do exercise. I've mentioned, that a few minutes ago. Enjoy your spare time. If you're not looking after yourself, if you're not caring for yourself, then you're no good to anybody, because you're no good to yourself. So definitely that as a must. Self-compassion. Don't be so hard on yourself, right? We're human. We're not machines. We're not robots. Ensure that you've got work-life balance. And again, we discussed burnout a few minutes ago. And if you don't allow your time to reset, then everything becomes incredibly difficult. You become overwhelmed very quickly, and it is not a good place to find yourself in. And then really lastly, just build a support network around you. It could be family, it could be colleagues, it could be friends, people who know you, people who you like spending time with, or people that you're comfortable speaking to. Just share those similar experiences. Lots of people that I talk to relate, as I've said at the start. They relate to what I say. They relate because they go through it, or they've been through it, or they've seen people go through it. I don't underestimate the support that people around you can give. Share challenges. If it's in the workplace, you're not going to be the only one in your team. If you're feeling something, other people in your team are likely to as well. Talk about it, discuss it. A problem shared is a problem halved. And really, maybe come up with coping strategies or other kinds of strategic things that you can do to kind of lift the pressure. Ask for support, ask for help, offer support, offer help if that's what you're recognizing in people in terms of change of behavior.
Incredible. Well, Carl, I can't thank you enough for sharing and shedding the light on this topic. It's crucial, because I know everybody has somebody they know that's had a bad day, and ideally not had a bad life or a longer period that leads to some extreme circumstances, as we know, suicide and so forth, that we see in media, or even to close loved ones that we care about. So in order to prevent this, we got to keep on sharing, talking about it, and having leaders like yourself implement strategies internally to really drive better results when engaging with staff. Retention is crucial. So I thank you for everything you're doing, and really coming to the platform to share your own preference and experience and expertise with our community. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for the invite. It's really important to me that we can have these conversations with people. So it's been a pleasure, and anytime.
Awesome, Carl. Well, thanks again. I hope everyone's found this valuable and useful, and think about those 3 tips immediately. That self-awareness is so crucial. And I wish everyone a fantastic work week. We'll see you next Tuesday with another very important, insightful tips from experts that can help you connect and make the best smart impressions for your future and professional career. Have a great day, everyone.